Act 3 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. Act 3. Scene 1. The Wood. Titania lying asleep. Enter Quince, Snug, Bottom, Flute, Snout, and Starveling.
Are we all met?
Pat, and here's a marvellous convenient place for our rehearsal. This green plot shall be our stage, this hawthorn brake our tiring house, and we will do it in action as we will do it before the Duke.
Peter Quince?
What sayest thou, Bully Bottom?
There are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe that will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword to kill himself, which the ladies cannot abide. How answer you that?
By'r Lakin, a parlous fear.
I believe we must leave the killing out when all is done.
Not a whit. I have a device to make all well. Write me a prologue, and let the prologue seem to say we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not killed indeed, and, for the more better assurance, tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus, but Bottom the Weaver. This will put them out of fear.
Well, we will have such a prologue, and it shall be written in 8 and 6.
No, make it 2 more. Let it be written in 8 and 8.
Will not the ladies be afeard of the lion?
I fear it, I promise you.
Masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to bring in, God shield us, a lion among ladies is a most dreadful thing, for there is not a more fearful wildfowl than your lion living, and we ought to look to it.
Therefore, another prologue must tell he is not a lion.
Nay, you must name his name, and half his face must be seen through the lion's neck, and he himself must speak through, saying thus, or to the same defect, Ladies, or fair ladies, I would wish you, or I would request you, or I would entreat you, not to fear, not to tremble, my life for yours. If you think I come hither as a lion, it were pity of my life. No, I am no such thing. I am a man, as other men are. And there indeed let him name his name, and tell them plainly he is Snug the Joiner.
Well, it shall be so, but there is 2 hard things, that is, to bring the moonlight into a chamber, for you know Pyramus and Thisbe meet by moonlight.
Doth the moon shine that night we play our play?
A calendar, a calendar. Look in the almanac. Find out moonshine, find out moonshine.
Yes, it doth shine that night.
Why, then may you leave a casement of the great chamber window where we play open, and the moon may shine in at the casement.
Aye, or else one must come in with a bush of thorns and a lanthorn, and say he comes to disfigure or to present the person of moonshine. Then there is another thing. We must have a wall in the great chamber, for Pyramus and Thisbe, says the story, did talk through the chink of a wall.
You can never bring in a wall. What say you, Bottom?
Some man or other must present wall, and let him have some plaster, or some loam, or some rough cast about him to signify wall, and let him hold his fingers thus, and through that cranny shall Pyramus and Thisbe whisper.
If that may be, then all is well. Come sit down every mother's son and rehearse your parts. Pyramus, you begin. When you have spoken your speech, enter into that brake, and so every one according to his cue.
Enter Puck behind.
What hempen homespuns have we swaggering here so near the cradle of the fairy queen? What, a play toward? I'll be an auditor, an actor too, perhaps, if I see cause.
Speak, Pyramus. Thisbe, stand forth.
Thisbe, the flowers of odious savours sweet.
Odours, odours.
Odours, savours sweet. so hath thy breath, my dearest Thisbe dear. But hark, a voice. Stay thou but here a while, and by I will to thee appear.
Exit.
A stranger Pyramus than e'er played here.
Exit.
Must I speak now?
Ay, marry must you, for you must understand he goes but to see a noise that he heard, and is to come again.
Most radiant Pyramus, most lily-white of hue, of colour like the red rose on triumphant briar, most brisky juvenile, and eke most lovely Jew, as truest horse that never yet would tire, I'll meet thee, Pyramus, at Ninny's tomb.
Ninna's tomb, man. Why, you must not speak that yet. Let your answers to Pyramus. You speak all your parts at once, cues and all. Pyramus, enter. Your cue is past. It is never tire.
Oh, as truest horse that yet would never tire.
Re-enter Puck and Bottom with an ass's head.
If I were fair, Thisbe, I were only thine.
O monstrous, O strange, we are haunted. Pray, masters, fly, masters, help.
Exeunt Quince, Snug, Flute, Snout, and Starveling.
I'll follow you. I'll lead you about, around, through bog, through bush, through brake, through briar. Sometime a horse I'll be, sometime a hound, a hog, a headless bear, sometime a fire, and neigh and bark and grunt and roar and burn, like horse, hound, hog, bear, fire at every turn.
Exit.
Why do they run away? This is a knavery of them to make me afeard.
Re-enter Snout.
O Bottom, thou art changed. What do I see on thee?
What do you see? You see an ass head of your own, do you?
Exit Snout. Re-enter Quince.
Bless thee, Bottom, bless thee. Thou art translated.
Exit.
I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me, to fright me if they could. But I will not stir from this place, do what they can. I will walk up and down here, and I will sing, that they shall hear I am not afraid. The ousel cock so black of hue, with orange tawny bill, the throstle with his note so true, the wren with little quill.
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed?
The finch, the sparrow, and the lark, the plain-sung cuckoo grey, whose note full many a man doth mark, and dares not answer nay. For indeed, who would set his wit to so foolish a bird? Who would give a bird the lie, though he cry cuckoo never so?
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamoured of thy note, so is mine eye enthralled to thy shape, and thy fair virtue's force perforce doth move me on the first view to say, to swear, I love thee.
Methinks, mistress, you should have little reason for that. And yet, to say the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. The more the pity that some honest neighbours will not make them friends. Nay, I can gleek upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Not so neither. But if I had wit enough to get out of this wood, I have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt or no. I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my state, and I do love thee. Therefore go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing while thou on pressed flowers dost sleep. And I will purge thy mortal grossness so, that thou shalt like an airy spirit go. Pease-blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed.
Enter Pease-blossom, Cobweb, Moth, and Mustard seed.
Ready.
And I.
And I.
And I.
Where shall we go?
Be kind and courteous to this gentleman. Hop in his walks and gambol in his eyes. Feed him with apricocks and dewberries, with purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. the honey-bags steal from the humble bees, and for night tapers crop their waxen thighs, and light them at the fiery glowworm's eyes, to have my love to bed and to arise, and pluck the wings from painted butterflies, to fan the moonbeams from his sleeping eyes. Nod to him, elves, and do him courtesies.
Hail, mortal!
Hail!
Hail! Hail!
I cry your worship's mercy heartily. I beseech your worship's name.
Cobweb.
I shall desire you of more acquaintance, good Master Cobweb. If I cut my finger, I shall make bold with you. Your name, honest gentleman?
Peace Blossom.
I pray you, commend me to Mistress Squash, your mother, and Master Peascod, your father. Good Master Peas Blossom, I shall desire you of more acquaintance too. Your name, I beseech you, sir.
Mustard Seed.
Good Master Mustard Seed, I know your patience well. That same cowardly giant-like ox beef hath devoured many a gentleman of your house. I promise you, your kindred had made my eyes water ere now. I desire your more acquaintance, good Master Mustard Seed.
Come, wait upon him, lead him to my bower. The moon, methinks, looks with a watery eye, and when she weeps, weeps every little flower, lamenting some enforced chastity. Tie up my love's tongue, bring him silently.
Exeunt. Scene 2. Another part of the wood. Enter Oberon.
I wonder if Titania be awaked. Then what it was that next came in her eye, which she must dote on in extremity.
Enter Puck.
Here comes my messenger. How now, mad spirit? What night rule now about this haunted grove?
My mistress with a monster is in love. Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. The shallowest thickskin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented, in their sport forsook his scene, and entered in a brake. When I did him at this advantage take, an ass's knoll I fixed on his head. Anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes. When they him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet pated troughs, many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky,